Hello everybody and welcome to the Season 4, Round 7 of RTTF Tier 1 League Racing in F1 2022. I am Racing Mouse and today with me is Edgin,
Hello, guys.
and we together will be commentating the race on Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. As per usual, we have all of the guys ready to race. I can see some of the cars exiting the pits just now. Something's wrong with the sound. As someone is spinning off in a distance. Wait a minute. I think I have a sound bug. Okay, never mind. It's back. Uh, so, as the cars are exiting the pits, uh, who would you say would be your favorite for today's race?
Well, we'll obviously go with Scruffy as a first, and I've heard a lot of big talking from Deathlink, who I do expect to give us a surprise, at least P2. Jakob will also be fighting with Deathlink in order to secure more points for the McLaren team, as they're obviously, I think, winning the Constructors' Championship for this season in Tier 1. Obviously, the more points the merrier for both of them, so the better they can get in qualifying right now, the better result that they can get, the better it will be for them.
Yes, exactly. So right now we have Bahrain Berry and Door to Door leading the pack, as the Aston Martins were the first one to leave the pits, followed by Deathlink in a Haas. Um, so as they come around the back straight to start their flying laps, I would say my favorite for the win would probably be Jacob. He is extremely fast and he showed that on many occasions. He can race the open wheelers and can extract the absolute maximum out of them.
It's interesting. We're both expecting other people to do best, so we'll see. I think that thing will pull through.
Hopefully, I'm expecting a eventful race. Definitely now crosses the line and starts his flying lap. Here we are on board with him. Good braking into the last source and good exit onto the old pit straight into El Rouge and Radion. Let's see if he will make it flat out. Yes, he will. Absolutely spot on, kissing the curbs on the inside and outside of the corners into the first DRS zone, almost touching the grass on the inside of the corner. As much as he can to the left hand side to extract as much speed into the first heavy braking zone, into corner 3 and 4. Good job clearing those, and here we come to the first hairpin. Neatly and tidy done. Quick work of the curbs on the inside of the corner, and back on the throttle we go. Into corner number 13, is that? I think it's corner number 9, never mind. He cleared that perfectly, braking just enough as he needed to clear the corner without losing too much speed. Neat and tidy on the chicane. And here we are on the back straight yet again, putting as much speed and getting as good of an exit as he possibly can to carry the speed through the long section of sweeping light corners that are obviously flat out in those cars. Into the bus stop chicane we go, heavy braking zone yet again, but he managed to neatly get into the braking area and to the second DRS zone across the line, and that's a provisional pole of 1:43.7. I'm gonna have to leave you for a moment. I'm gonna be right back in 1 minute. Edgin, take it over from me.
Yeah, that's alright. I guess we'll keep watching Deathlink, as we do expect him to improve, since the 1:43.7 is a good time, but it is not the fastest that he can do. We have everyone else setting laps varying in terms of speed. We do have Scrappy going right now on a hot lap, and Ooh, we actually had a crash. Door to Door has spun out. Unfortunately, I can't show it to you guys. He spun out right before Bruxelles. So now he has to slow down for all the other cars. As you can see him, as you've just seen him, actually on the stream. However, Deathlink is slowing down. I think recharging his battery for another hot lap. Yeah, so Scraffy set a time of 1:43.2. It's actually a very fast time for Spa. We have a lot more drivers heading into the 1:43s now, as they'll be doing their second laps. And also have a lot of drivers that are staying back at about 2 seconds. So that's the furthest away we've seen everyone being in Tier 1 in regards to the spacing of the times. And we're still on board with Deathlink as he's actually pitting now, so he's not going to be doing another lap. Maybe doing a quick change of tires. Another thing, I think we have Agafa actually on a push lap right now. I can't tell because he's not really draining his battery, but
Doesn't really look like a push lap, or maybe it does, but yeah, he's not using his battery at all. The red
No.
light on the back of his car is flashing. He's going sort of slowly. I think he's on his out lap, maybe? He's recharging the battery, maybe? Everyone
no,
else except
it's at
for
1%,
Chris,
so
they're in the pits, so... No,
yeah, he's
pitting.
He's
Agafa
pitting.
dives into the pits, and now only Chris remains on the battlefield, and his time is invalidated. Look at the map, it's flashing red, so the only explanation is that he exceeded the track limits on one of the corners, and he had a little bit of a snap. He had to go on the grass for that one lap. And let's see if he will be starting another one, or will he dive into the pits like the rest. At the moment we have another car on the out lap, it's Periland, without a set time just yet. So we might switch on to him if Chris is not on his flying lap after he crosses the line. As I'm saying that, Deathlink now and Baron Berry, they are both on their out laps. So is Lachtan and Oli. They are all exiting the pits now, and the track is gonna get crowded yet again as more cars exit the pits. I see Alpha Tauri of AIM exiting the pits, another Aston Martin of Door to Door, and that's Alpine of Raid as well on an out lap. So Chris dove into the pits. Let's maybe switch to Lachtan. We haven't worked him in during qualifying. Let's see if he can put his car on the podium spots, or maybe high enough to challenge for the lead of the race.
well, in terms of pace, if we look at both Deathlink and Jakob, we can tell that they're actually very close together up into the into P2 and P3. Obviously, Ollie hasn't done his lap yet, so it remains to be seen how well he completes a lap on Spa. As for race conditions, what do you think? Do you think it's gonna rain? Do you think it's gonna stay dry for the race?
I have no idea. It certainly looks like it can rain, but in all honesty, I'm not expecting it to. The rain in this game is very rare occurrence. I haven't seen it in a long while, so I'm gonna expect at least qualifying to remain dry. I don't know about the race itself.
Yeah, honestly, I think we need to take into account as well that the asphalt's going to be cooler now that the temperatures do look to be dropping overall. So
Does this
everyone
game
else will be a little bit slower.
simulate
Oh
the
yeah.
track temperatures?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it does. That's why when it's a bit colder, your tires seem to wear out a bit faster as well, since the colder it is, the less the tire sticks to the track.
I have
So you have a
never
lot more
noticed the
rubbing going
difference
on.
myself. Definitely spun
Oh, yeah.
around on the middle of the track in second sector.
Ollie has actually set the fastest sector 1 in his current lap as he's heading into Bruxelles, or turn 10.
That is interesting. He's certainly doing well just now. That looked like a very speedy corner. The section
Into turn 11.
2. Oh,
It's
he
quite good.
invalidated. He exceeded the track
Yeah.
limits on the outside.
That is unfortunate. He's doing really well.
Oh, and someone spun. That's gonna be
I
Raid.
think that is Raid.
Yep,
Yes.
Raid was facing the wrong direction. He's now getting back on the track, but he has to let the Mercedes of Chris, I believe that is, to let by. Now that was Scruffy, my mistake. But Agafa will now be crossing the line. Was he on a fast lap or an out lap? Looks like he was on a fast lap. He's crossing the line now, and he didn't improve. Lachtan, meanwhile, crossing the line now, he did improve, and it was good enough for P2, just behind Scruffy, and not far behind Scruffy, that is. 1/10 separates them. That
Obviously,
was
that will
purple
force
sector 3.
both the drivers, Jakob and Deathlink, to push even harder now for hot laps in order to get ahead of Lachtan.
Yeah, they need to step up their game if they want to remain relevant. And Scruffy now...
Scruffy with a 142.
instant reply for what Latan put. He separates from the Czech driver by even more time. It's now 6/10 of a second separating them.
Whilst you were watching Scruffy, I was watching Deathlink, and he's had a little bit of a moment going into Lacombe. He slid a little bit, lost control of the car again. Now into turn 11, headed towards Puhan. So I don't think this is going to be a great lap from Deathlink.
And Oli now had a little bit of a scruff with aim. I wonder if that cost him. Oh yeah, and it definitely cost him now. Aim in the way of Alfa Romeo driver, that's gonna cost both of them actually. That's not what any of them would have wanted, so now I can only assume both of them will pit. Oli might be able to put on a bunker, as actually Oli was able to set a purple middle sector. Agafa retiring from the session, wonder if that was...
Oh, Agafa's had a crash in the
pits?
pits.
Yeah.
Yes. And the pit lane is right now blocked off for Deathlink as he's trying to get into the pits, and I think we have three cars that are now getting disqualified for blocking the pit lane due to the game basically blocking off everyone from entering the pits.
Yeah, and Oli tries to enter as well. Deathlink was disqualified for the session.
Oh!
That's gonna make things interesting. So Agafa, who used to be second, is now almost on the very back, just in front of Deathlink, who was also disqualified.
Lachtan and Deathlink were disqualified, and Agafa.
I am Eric, asking if we do league races in other games too. Yes, we do. Currently, we do currently run 2 leagues in Assetto Corsa, one in BTCC, and one with 97 Formula cars. But back to the situation that has been unfolding right now. That's not gonna be what Deathlink or Lachtan would have wanted, obviously, but I don't see anyone leaving, so I can only assume they decided to continue with the situation that was presented to them. So right now, Scruffy leading the pack, first in the scoreboard by quite a margin. Jacob Snack second, and Mizzy surprising third, actually. I was not expecting the Ferrari driver to go this far up the grid.
We have to take into account 2 of the drivers, which were P2 and P3. No, P2 and P4 got disqualified because of that incident. Wow, I don't know what to say. This just
Yeah, Bahrain Berry now
EA
out
man,
on the track,
just EA.
improving just a tiny little bit on his personal best. But yeah, I mean, that's not the first time it happened. I remember in
No, but that's
Miami.
such an yeah, such a ridiculous moment, such an EA moment. It's just insane.
Yeah.
It's
We have another yellow flag in Sector 1 and Sector 2. That's a Mercedes of Chris, I believe. Chris is the only Mercedes out on track just now. So he had a little moment that will not harm his time as he was on an outlap. Bahrain Berry now with the purple middle sector. That's gonna help his chances. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me like the weather is getting better and we have a little bit of a sunlight now. So that might mean anyone that's gonna put a fast lap and not invalidate it is gonna improve because of the conditions improving. And Bahrain Berry now improving his personal best, fourth, never mind. Another driver to get into 43s, only just, but that's good enough for fourth. It doesn't look like he's stopping now, he's still pushing, or so it would seem. He might want to improve even further upon his time, but he's almost 8 tenths down on his personal best, so I believe he will be pitting this lap, and that's qualifying done for Bahrain Berry. Let's switch. Who else is on the flying lap? That would be Scruffy, looking for another improvement. He's almost done. He's in the first sector, and he's weaving about, warming up his tires, presumably, or maybe charging the battery. Anyway, let's see. Will he pit or will he not? He will not. So Scruffy starting another flying lap. Let's see if he can improve upon his personal best. The provisional pole sitter going out once more. And we have another yellow flag. That's Ray, I think, in Alpine. Yes, it is. He's now making way for Splat Beef in his McLaren. He did let him by safely, so he will be able to continue, but he will not be making it across the line, so that's qualifying down for Ray as well. He will not be improving from 7th. He might only push down now. So back to Scruffy. Good line through the first chicane. Looking good for the provisional pole sitter right now. Another purple sector, so he's improving upon his personal best yet again. Jacob Snacks sitting in the pits, he will not improve. He is not out on the track, so Jacob Snacks can only hope he will not be pushed down by other drivers. Another one on the track right now is Nizi. He's gonna be trying to improve. He is improving, but only slightly. 17 thousandths of a second faster than his personal best. Will that be enough for a second place? He's currently sitting in P3, so that's not bad at all. And we have Splatbeef crossing the line. He did improve, but not enough to make any changes to his position. He stays 9th. And we had the Raid pitting. As I said already, he had a spin, so he will not be improving. Scruffy now nearing the finish line, and he is improving by quite a lot actually. He's 1.5 tenths faster than his personal best, and he now improves over 2 tenths faster than his personal best. He was able to set a time of 1:42.5, over half a second faster than the next guy. Oli somehow improved his time. He is now 2nd, and good enough to beat Jacob out of his 2nd place. So yeah, Oli really likes this track apparently.
I just got a replay of what happened to Agafa. Maybe you can show it at the end of the stream or whatever. We'll see if we can get it done. It's quite hilarious, to be honest.
Okay.
But we have different well, we have different people now on the actual starting grids. With Scruffy in P1, Ollie in P2, Jakob P3, Mizzy P4, Bahrain Berry P5, Agatha P6, Aim in P7, Raid in P8, Door to Door P9, Splat Beef P10, Corny P11, and then obviously Chris and Pearland not setting a lap, and with the disqualifications at the back with Lachtan in P14 and Deathlink in P15.
Definitely interesting qualifying. Maybe not interesting for Deathlink or Lachtan, or Agatha for that matter, but definitely interesting from the commentator's point of view. At least Agatha gave us something to commentate on. But yeah, with qualifying done, we are now getting ready for the race. The cars are lined up on the grid, everyone is perfect in their setups, choosing their strategies for the race, picking fuel that they think will get them to the end. And that shouldn't take too long. I assume within a minute or so we will be running again. So if you wanna take a quick toilet break or grab a cup of coffee or whatever, now is the time, because in a couple of seconds we will be back in action.
That was so unexpected. That whole, just the qualifying, it's unreal.
I mean, as I already said, it's not the first time it happened. Also, we have now confirmation from the FIA. We will be starting in 10 seconds time. So here we are lined up and ready for the start of Belgian Grand Prix. The 5 lights are on. They are on for quite a while, but it's lights out and away we go. All the drivers having a good start. The Aston Martin of Door to Door in the back having particularly good one. Scruffy got away well with Mizzy overtaking Jacob and Bahrain Berry sticking his nose into the grid. Jacob Snacks losing 2 positions. Oli somehow dropped immensely. Did he spin or something? I do not know. He was starting second, he's now 14th. So certainly something happened to the Alfa Romeo driver, but Scruffy is now way in front of everybody else. Bahrain Berry trying to get in front of Mizzy and Jacob, but Jacob getting back at Bahrain Berry, and he is now side by side with Mizzy. He's challenging the Ferrari for the second spot, but he fails to do so. Agatha meanwhile trying to get in front of the Aston Martin. He almost made the move done, but then Bahrain Berry is still side by side with him. He's not letting that place go, but Agatha had the better line, even though he had to yield the position, and now Bahrain Berry is set on 4th. A good opening lap, no major incidents unless Oli had an accident with somebody. I didn't see any crashes whatsoever, so I would say we are off to a good race.
One slight collision with Lachtan accidentally slipping into the wall and pushing Pearland off track, but they managed to keep it clean.
Definitely now
Actually,
spun
I think
around.
it was Pearland. Go ahead.
So Deathlink now was spun around and he's way behind everybody else. He will be hoping for a safety car maybe, or he perhaps might be able to catch some cars on his own. He has the pace to do so. He was obviously qualified in the back because of the kerfuffle in the pit lane. So he very much might be able to get in front of the grid yet again. Right now we are on board with Splatbeef. He's trying to challenge Door to Door's Aston Martin for the 7th place. He had slightly better exit, he might be able to do something in La Source. But Door to Door looks like he is running lower wing setup. He got away from him in the straight, so Splatbeef couldn't do nothing about it. Let's see, in front of the grid, Agatha is changing now Bahrain Berry into the Rouge. He has the better line, he has better speed, he's leaving space on the inside and now weaving about as he was almost losing traction with the tarmac, but managed to complete the move and he's now in front of the Aston Martin. Meanwhile, Oli is trying to make up places yet again. He's now in front of Raid and Chris. Raid also trying to make a move on Chris and succeeding in doing so. He had a slip, I think, and he's now into the barriers. So not what Raid would have wanted. He completed the move, but he's now dead last. I don't see any damage on his front wing, at least not any major damage, so he will be okay to continue, but he's now plumb last and he will have to make amazing laps to get back at everyone else. Wow, a lot happened. Oh, and we have a spin! Actually now, our race leader, Scruffy, went wide on the one of the corners and had now conceded the position to Jacob, Mizzy and Agatha. He's now 4th.
Obviously, with this tumble, he's gonna have to struggle a bit. I know Agatha's gonna try to hold the position against him quite hard, and he's gonna try to...
Oli meanwhile making a move on another Red Bull of Corny. Corny had to concede the position as Oli apparently had a better exit and better speed during the back straight. So Oli now into 9th. Best time of the session, Jacob Snacks for now, as we had a spin for our race leader. So a lot to unpack during the first couple of laps, and now Corny is challenging Oli yet again for the 9th position. He had a little bit look on the inside, but Oli had a better exit and he's now yet again in front of him. But Corny is just behind him into the first DRS zone. Will he be able to overtake him into the 3rd and 4th corner? Look at that, the DRS on the back of the Red Bull wide open. He's making gains, but not gaining enough to challenge the Alfa Romeo. Meanwhile, Scruffy is making a move on Agatha. They are racing side by side, and Scruffy is now in front of the Red Bull, which is not gonna be good news for Mizzy, who is now being challenged by Scruffy at this very moment. And Scruffy now has the inside line through this wide left-hander, and Mizzy going wide has allowed Scruffy to get inside of his car, and now Scruffy is 2nd. And we had another spin from Raid, I believe. It looks like it's Raid. Yellow flags in sector 2, but seems like Raid is okay to continue for now. So now nothing separates Scruffy from the race leader, Jacob, who is gonna be running like hell to not allow Scruffy to get in front of him. Chris, meanwhile, very close to the back of the Williams of Peryland. He's gonna be probably thinking about making a move. Yes, he is. He's now side by side with Peryland. And actually, no, that's Lachtan. Somehow got the two mixed up. But Lachtan goes pushed wide. The rears on both of them wide open. Chris looks okay to keep the position, but now Lachtan dives into the inside and he is challenging the Mercedes driver, and he is now forced to concede the position as Lachtan made the move count, and he's now in front of the Chris. Oli meanwhile overtaking Splatbeef yet again, and we had a first retiree, that was Raid, retiring from the session in the pit lane. Supposedly he didn't think safety car was coming and decided that he has nothing to look forward during this race. Bahrain Berry meanwhile was challenging Agatha for one mere moment, but now Agatha looks like he regained his composure and he's sat firmly on the 4th place. Lachtan meanwhile trying to get ahead of his teammate Peryland. Remember, Lachtan had problem during... Wait, did he? No, that was Agatha, sorry.
Yeah, Lachtan and Deathling were both disqualified from the qualifying due to Agatha's car blocking the pits and them having to stop for it.
Yes, but now Lachtan is trying to make a move on his teammate yet again. I think he's gonna try to make a dive bomb into the bus stop chicane, and he does so, yes. He put his nose where it didn't exactly belong, but now he had a better exit during through the outside line as they spun out Splatbeef into the last corner, reminiscent of its broken Lando Norris McLaren. The same spot, but he was okay to continue as his front wing was not in fact broken. Now Lachtan is coming closer and closer to the back of Corny, who is now overtaken even before the corner even began. The DRS on this camel straight is very powerful tool, and now we have two cars going very slowly. That's Ferrari of Mizzy and Aston Martin of Bahrain Berry. I wonder if the two tangled together, but now Lachtan is trying to make a move on the Ferrari, who is obviously going slower because of the collision. The tires might be overheated or might be just playing dirty, so he will be an easy target if Lachtan can pull it off.
That thing's managed to slice down those 4 seconds that he had to the next car ahead, and he's chasing down Perlin in order to move up and try to get into the points.
Meanwhile, Oli is also slicing down the gap he had to the next car. He is now 5th, obviously overtook Mizzy and Bahrain-Berry, but he has aimed to go through in the AlphaTauri. And as I'm saying that, I just noticed that Scruffy is in the DRS zone. Actually, he's in the attacking distance. He can try to pull out and move anytime now. Obviously, DRS wide open. He's gonna try to take the first place from Jacob. I wonder if Jacob will be able to defend from him.
We've had Ollie overtaking Aim just now on the DRS zone, just before La Source.
Yes, that is correct. Oli is now in front of Aim, so he's gonna be chasing down Agafa now. Scruffy was too far back on this occasion to try to make a move on Jacob Snacks. I don't know if Jacob Snacks had a better line through El Rouge and Radion. But
I think we're gonna see an overtake from Bahrain Berry on Corny now, as they're both accelerating with DRS open.
yes, they are together side by side. And now Corny has a better line, but Bahrain Berry is not giving up just yet. He still had an inside line into the next corner, and now they are still side by side throughout the entire section. Now Corny touched with Bahrain Berry. Bahrain Berry is still not giving up just yet. He will have the outside line now into the next corner, and they are still side by side somehow, not touching. But Bahrain Berry now was able to somehow get ahead in front of the Red Bull enough to take that place, and now Corny spins around like a ballerina, and now he is facing the right direction again, but that's gonna cost him dearly. He's now been overtaken by Chris, and someone else had a spin into this corner. I think that was Haas of Deathling. He's now getting overtaken by Splatbeef. Or is he? Yes, Splatbeef is just behind him. He did not get in front of him, but that's gonna cost Deathling dearly yet again. So we had like 2 or 3 cars spinning in the same corner at the same time. That was a synchronized spin. Now in front we turn into the battle for the lead yet again. Scruffy, now much closer than on last occasion. He's now half a second down on the leader of the race, Jacob Snacks. He will be looking for an opportunity to the camera side with the DRS assistance. He's now inching closer, he's now much closer than on the last occasion. He's gonna go to the left, go to the right. He went to the left on the outside of the corner. He's side by side and he had to concede because he was given no space by Jacob Snacks, but he's still in the fight. They're still trying to make that move count. As he's now side by side yet again, he has the inside line. They touch slightly. Jacob Snacks forced to go wide, but he will have the inside line now into the next corner. Jacob Snacks is nowhere to be seen as he had to slot in behind the Mercedes of Scruffy, and Scruffy is now back into the lead of the race. And Lachtan has been awarded 3-second time penalty for multiple warning, considering track limits, I assume. A lot of fights happening on this stage of the race, as Oli spins into the first section just before the back straight. He didn't do any damage to his front wing, but that's gonna cost him, and he lost a couple of positions. He might be losing another one because Berland is awfully close to him, and he's not gonna want to let that opportunity go to waste. So we are nearing the mid part of the race. I think we're gonna see some pit stops coming pretty soon, and that was a snap of oversteer for Chris in the background. He managed to keep it tightly, so he did not face the wrong direction at any point. He will be able to continue, but I think that costed him. Corny is now in front of him, and he was behind just a moment ago. So Mizzy now, challenged by Baron Berry. Baron Berry, with the assistance of DRS, was able to get in front of the Ferrari even before the corner. And as I'm saying that, his teammate Door to Door is being challenged by AIM, or is he challenging AIM? I'm not sure. But anyway,
and we also have Jakub overtaking Scruffy just now.
Did he regain the... Yes, he did regain the lead of the race. Now Scruffy has to fight for it yet again, as the freeway battle for fourth position I should say, concerning Lachtan, Door to Door and AIM has come to a conclusion, at least for now. AIM retaining the 4th place, still being pushed by Door to Door, who will not be willing to give up that fight that easily. But in fighting in such a manner, they are actually allowing the drivers behind them to catch up to them and possibly challenge them for that 4th place they all been fighting for so fiercely. So here we are again, Door to Door trying to get in front of that Alpha Tauri yet again. He's now thinking about diving into the inside. He had to let off the throttle for that 1 second, and that 1 second might have cost him the ability to make a move. And now Lachtan dives in on Corny, and now Corny, instead of gaining a position, lost one to the Williams driver. That was a dive and a half from Lachtan. I wonder if if Door to Door will have something to say about that, but they didn't make much of a contact, so I can only assume that was just well placed dive bomb with no repercussions from that. I don't see any damage on any of those cars, so a bit of a luck. But now AIM is being challenged by Lachtan, and now AIM had to concede the position as Lachtan is now into P4. Do remember that Lachtan has a 3-second time penalty, so he's effectively P8 if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, the cars are so tightly packed together that he will be moving down a lot of positions.
If Ole catches up to the pack, he might be even P9. But yeah, the field is spreading a little bit more during this phase. I was talking about pit stops incoming. I didn't see any just yet. Oh, and we have the spin, another spin. That was Berryland. And he was overtaken by both Deathling and Splatbeef. And now the two leaders dive into the pits. Let's see who will come out on top after this stop. And both of them managed to avoid the barriers on the inside and outside of the pit entry.
And both of them are going for hearts.
Yeah, both of them going for hearts. Neat and tidy pit stop for Scruffy, as it was for Jacob. Jacob was able to pull out in front of the Mercedes yet again, so they did not swap positions during the pit stops. As we have an entire field now diving into the pit lane, as we have a safety car. I didn't notice that, but that makes a perfect sense for everyone to dive into the pits, obviously. So why do we have a safety car? I didn't see nobody crash. I saw a spin from Berryland, but did that cause the safety car, I wonder? Or was that Chris? I think Chris is now way behind everyone else. That might be something to do with him. Let's see. No, his front wing is intact. He's gonna be extremely happy about that safety car though, as he will be allowed to join in with the rest of the grid. Ah, but he got a 5-second time penalty for spinning in the pit lane. That was not necessary, Chris. You didn't have to do that. You would be allowed to join with the grid anyway, so you should have played it safe. Anyway, back at the front. We didn't see any position swaps in the pit lane. Everyone now is on the brand new fresh set of tires. Let's see the detail tires. So Bahrain Berry opted to stay out on the 9 laps old set of mediums. Very interesting strategy choice, wouldn't you say, Edgin?
Obviously we need to see what comes out of it. I don't think it's a great idea. I think he is planning on staying on the mediums till very long, maybe ecoing the tires.
Softs?
Probably, but I don't think that's possible.
Me neither. I think that was just a mistake. I think he missed the pit entry or something.
It can be, yes.
So if I were Bahrain Berry, I would opt to pit anyway, because let's be honest, if he doesn't pit now, he's gonna lose all those positions anyway, and he's gonna be much slower than the guys behind him, as they are now on fresh tires, most of them on mediums. Obviously Jacob would want Bahrain Berry to stay there for as long as possible. But yeah, I don't see that happening, as Bahrain Berry now opts to pit, which probably is the most damage limiting decision he could have made at that point. He might still be able to come out in front of Chris. I highly doubt it though, but he might. Let's see, Bahrain Berry now exiting the pit lane. Will he be able to get in front of the Mercedes? Yes, he will. That was a big gap he slot right into. So yeah, Bahrain Berry from second, he's now second to last, with fresh new set of hards. 1 lap fresher than everyone else. That's gonna be handy during later parts of the race, but still, he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to get decent points from this race.
And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't expect the safety car this late, but I also didn't expect the safety car this early, if it makes sense. It was either gonna come at the very early stages of the race or near the very end, but it has come right smack dab in the middle, and it is very unexpected, because now I don't know what to do in regards of strategies. I don't know what to think in regards of strategies. Is it better to have started on the mediums and gone on hards now, or is it better to have started on the hards and gone on mediums now? And I'm personally opting for the second one, because I think now with these safety car laps you're ecoing your medium tires, and then you get to start out with a nice, relatively fresh, faster tire.
That is true, yes, but bear in mind that those mediums are gonna fall apart during the latest stages of the race. As we saw during the first stint, the leaders, Jacob and Scruffy, they were on mediums, and they were not getting away from everybody else. They were standing still, and both of them are much more faster than everybody else in the grid right now. That might be because they were fighting with each other, I'm not sure, but
Can be, yeah.
I do think that the hard tires are gonna be at an advantage at this stage of the race, because they last longer and they are not that much slower. So here we go, Jacob Snacks leading the restart from Scruffy from Agafa. Will he be able to pull out and pull a sneaky on the Mercedes? He won't, as Scruffy is just behind him, sniffing his gearbox, as he was for the past couple of laps. Oh, and they touched slightly. I don't think that was any damage for the Mercedes, but that's not gonna help him overtake the McLaren. He gave him an additional boost. That might help Jacob to get away. So from what I see on the minimap, everyone is getting away quite neatly, no one touching with each other. But now Scruffy pulls out from the outside, tries to make a move into the first hard braking zone. He does slot in front of the Jacob, and now he's yet again leading the race from Jacob Snacks. Agafa is trying to make a move on Jacob yet again, but he was too far behind and thought better of it. So the first first 4 actually, with Lachlan being in the mix, got away very well. They are now running away from the rest of the pack. Agafa might have an advantage over them, especially considering his medium tires.
Yeah, I told you, it's interesting at this part of the race. I think the medium tire, for me, I would personally rather want to be on medium tires than on hard tires, especially after that safety car stayed out for a bit longer than it should have.
I mean, it was only 2 laps, but the 2 laps of Spa is quite long.
2 laps of Spa is 4 laps of anything else.
Yes, I'm definitely having trouble to keep the car on line. He was trying to make a move on Mizzy, but got a little bit wide on the exit of the corner. Will that compromise his chances to get in front of Ferrari? Oh, what the hell was that brake check? I think Mizzy just lagged a bit, and definitely had to stamp on his brakes to not crash into the back of him. So we are now observing the full-weight battle between Mizzy, Aim and Oli for the 6th place. Oli now coming on top at the moment, but now Defling dives in side of Aim, and now Aim lost, how many positions was that? 3 in the span of 2 corners.
As you were watching this, I was watching further up ahead. Scraffy actually screwed up his turn into the chicane, and it ended up costing Jakob his position to Agafa because Jakob had to brake.
Yeah, Agafa is now 2nd, so let's see if he will be able to challenge for the lead. We all know he's fast, he's obviously the reigning world champion at that point. I don't think he will be able to win the championship during this year as well, but we'll see. Anything can happen. So Perland got a 3-second time penalty for multiple track warnings. Meanwhile, we have a freeway battle again for the 12th place, which is outside of the points, but the fight is there nonetheless. It's actually 5 cars in the near proximity of each other. I wonder if anyone will be able to come out on top from this scramble. Definitely, meanwhile, getting... Oh wow, and that was a big crash. We had 2 cars sideways on the track. That was Red Bull of Corny and Williams of Perryland. We might get another safety car. Or the virtual one at the very least. Yeah, that looks like a virtual safety car. I don't see the yellow dot on the map. Yep, DRC is active, and now everybody is forced to slow down and follow the delta. Fortunately, nobody DNF'd from that, but that looked very dangerous. Corny now obviously had to pit for the nose change, as does Perryland. They both will not be happy about how that fight unfolded. But they will be allowed to join the pack, and they will be allowed to pit for the fresh new mediums, which might help them in the latest stages. And if we're gonna get another safety car, actually Perryland opted to go out on softs. That's an interesting strategy choice.
Those softs will not carry him.
Yep, I don't think it will get him to the end of the race. Maybe he's hoping for another safety car. But we are on the way yet again, and Agafa is still pushing Scruffy to give him that first place in the Belgian Grand Prix. We have another yellow flag in the second sector, and that's the Ferrari of Mizzy. He's facing the track sideways. His front wing doesn't look too damaged, but he lost a lot of places now, and he's outside, out of the points, and his tires were overheated as he now spins around in the left-hander. So yeah, I think that's hope for the points pretty much gone for Mizzy in the Ferrari. Let's see Oli, meanwhile, pushing door to door for 5th place. He's now diving on the inside of the bus stop chicane. He tried to make a move, but door to door blocked the door nicely. And now Oli is trying to put the maximum power on the throttle, as he did, and that cost him a little bit, because he's now in the range of Defling attacks, because he lost traction. He had a little bit of a slip when he stopped on the power, and now Deathling will be trying to get in front of him on the camel straight with the DRS assistance. So none of them was able to make a move into the first heavy braking zone after the camel straight, as Mizzy now gets a 3-second time penalty for not respecting the track limits. Back in front, Agafa is running out of time to overtake Scruffy. He will not be able to do that in the latest part of the race because Scruffy is on harder tires. Agafa has to make a move as soon as possible, but he's not fast enough to challenge the Mercedes. So here we go again into the back straight. Definitely now trying to get as close as possible to the gearbox of Oli. Maybe make a move into the camel straight, the bus stop chicane, or a camel straight in the next lap. But now Oli pulls out side by side of door to door. He's now in front of the Aston Martin slightly, but Deathling with a late break outbrakes himself actually. Tries to make a dive bomb, didn't quite work out for him as he touched door to door on the exit of the corner. They both now have the DRS. Will door to door be able to challenge Oli yet again? No, Oli is now firmly in front of the Aston Martin. We have another place swap. Now Berryland swapped places with Mizzy. Mizzy now into P13. That race is not going the way Ferrari would have wanted, but definitely now inching closer and closer towards door to door. He has a slipstream, he has the DRS wide open, both of them actually have, and now Deathling is pulling side by side with the Aston Martin, and now will he be able to brake later? He will be, but now door to door is coming back at him. He had the better line, had the better exit, so Deathling had to concede, and now door to door retains the 6th place. Oli meanwhile got the 3-second time penalty. That's gonna cost him dearly. Deathling somehow also awarded himself a time penalty. So Oli was looking for the 4th place as Lachtan had the 3-second time penalty from earlier, and now Oli is spinning around Deathling, and Dortmund had to avoid him by going wide, and that costed Deathling as well because he spun around and he's now getting overtaken by Bahrain Berry, by Aim, by Spratbeef. Will he be overtaken by Chris? He probably will. Chris is now coming closer towards him. He was able to put his car on the track just in time to block Chris's Mercedes. But yeah, Deathling now down to 10th. So Oli, from looking at P4, is now P6, behind door to door, and probably losing position to Aim and Bahrain Berry as well. Oli might end up being 8th overall. Meanwhile, Lachtan, our P4 seater, is looking to make a move on the previous race leader, Jacob Snacks. They are both on 7 laps on hards, so there is no tire advantage on either of the sides. Agafa meanwhile looking like he's getting awfully close to the back of the Mercedes, as he is now side by side with the Mercedes. He had opted to go from the outside, but now Agafa managed to pull out the move he so desperately wanted, and he's now in front leading the race. Good stuff from the Red Bull driver. So let's see if Agafa will be able to keep that position. Obviously his tires will be falling apart at any moment now, as he's using the softer compound than his adversary, and that's gonna prove to be difficult to keep that car behind him. Obviously with the pace advantage of Scruffy and the DRS assistance, that might be very difficult. So Agafa, if he didn't use all of his energy now, he might be wanting to do that now, to pull away from that 1 second gap that allows Scruffy to use his DRS. Aim, meanwhile, lost a place to Bahrain Berry, if I'm not mistaken. So Bahrain Berry up into P7. Corny, meanwhile, got another time penalty of 3 seconds. And let's see, will Scruffy be able to overtake Agafa? Not on this particular occasion, he's still behind him into the last source, but now he's so much closer to him than Agafa was on the last lap. He will have the DRS advantage, so they are so close. I don't see Agafa defending that position at any way. Okay, Scruffy is already beside the Red Bull and Scruffy is already in front of the Red Bull. That was not hard overtake at all. Agafa will have to try harder to overtake him, maybe on the last lap, but will he be able to? As I'm saying time and time again, his tires will be suffering from the excess wear in comparison to the hard compound of Scruffy. So the things are calming down a little bit right now. Ollie is has been challenging door to door for quite a while now. Nothing came out of it just yet. And now door to door got a time penalty. So if Ollie manages to overtake him, door to door will not be retaining the 5th place. He will have to fight for it now. Let's see. Ollie is trying to go from the left, trying to go from the right. He's now putting his nose through the outside of the bus stop chicane. He tried to go for a switchback, but door to door had a better line, so Ollie has now to slot in behind him. He has the DRS, so the places might swap after the camel straight. And Agafa now is dropping from Scruffy. Will he be able to open the rear wing? No, he won't. He doesn't have the DRS anymore. He did have a better exit though, so he's back into the DRS zone, but will he be able to stay in there throughout the entire lap? He's already outside of it. So as it looks now, it looks like Scruffy will be retaining that 1st place, unless something bad happens. So Splatbeef tried to make a move on Deathling. Deathling obviously has the time penalty, so Splatbeef doesn't need to work too hard for the 9th place. He's gonna get it anyway. But maybe he was thinking by getting in front of Deathling he might be challenging aim in front. So right now the field has been spreading a little bit. Ollie now in front of door to door. Oh, I missed the overtake. Door to door was 5th and he's now 6th, so we have missed an overtake. Ollie looks like he's pulling out a gap on the Aston Martin driver, and in front of those two we have Lachtan trying to get in front of Jacob Snacks. Lachtan does have a penalty. Jacob Snacks doesn't, so Jacob does not need to defend that hard from Lachtan, unless he might be hoping that Agafa's tire will be so worn towards the end that he might be looking at the 2nd place. Agafa, honestly, I don't know what he's driving on right now. He's keeping pace with Scruffy, with so much worn tires, that's commendable. But I don't see Jacob overtaking Agafa at this point. We have only 2 laps left, and they are 3 seconds behind Agafa, so yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, so the mediums are gonna make it to the end, but I don't think Agafa now stands a chance at overtaking Scruffy.
I mean, he's somehow still staying in the DRS gap, still that elusive 1 second. But he's falling back and getting right into it at the worst possible moments. I don't think he actually used the DRS for the past couple of laps.
He's draining his battery now in order to manage to get into the DRS zone. And I think he will this time.
Yes, he will. He is now 9/10ths short from Scruffy, so he will be able to open up the rear wing now. Maybe recharge his battery. Now he's draining the battery. He's trying to get as close to the Mercedes as possible before the camel straight. He's draining the battery yet again. He's trying to get in the DRS zone. He did get in the DRS zone now. Will he be able to make a move on Scruffy? Let's see. They are now both on camel straight. Agafa had a slightly better exit out of the Radeon, and he's now inching towards the Mercedes, but will that be enough? I don't think so. And we have now another yellow flag in sector 3. That's the Mercedes of Chris, I believe. So Agafa now much closer towards Scruffy than the lap before. Will he be able to make a move into the last lap, I wonder? He's trying every trick in the book.
Accelerating. Pushing harder and harder.
Periland, meanwhile, as you said, those tires were not gonna last. Periland opted to go into the pits, maybe hope for a late safety car or maybe hope for someone crashing. But yeah, he had to change those tires for another set of softs. And Oli retires from the session. Looks like a crash to me. He's in the middle of the track.
Unfortunately, it is too late for a safety car.
Yeah, it is too late for a safety car, but if it wasn't, Periland would be glad to see that. Oli obviously would not. Wait, Oli is moving, so that was not a crash. I think he had to retire on his own somehow. So let's see, final lap. Agafa just in range of the DRS, but he did open the rear wing. He is now a little bit further behind Scruffy compared to the previous lap. Let's see, if he's gonna get a better exit, if he's gonna drain the battery, he might be actually in place to make a move on the Mercedes. He has to make the El Rouge count. He did clear it quite well. He's now 7/10ths down on the Mercedes. He will be inching towards closer and closer. Scruffy is trying to break any toe that Agafa can get, but Agafa was too far behind and that obviously didn't make any difference whatsoever. A valiant effort, one might say, but... Wait, do we have a rain? Do I see rain?
It does seem to start, and that will level the playing field a little bit more.
It would if it was the final lap.
It is. It is raining.
Bahrain Berry left the session, which is weird considering he was running 5th. He might be just having connection issues as his AI is still driving around the track. So yeah, last chance for Lachtan to maybe dive on the inside of Jacob Snacks. Lachtan obviously draining his battery dry, trying to get as big of an advantage as he possibly can, but he's too far behind to make a move, and unfortunately we will have to cross the line in the order we have seen for quite a while now. So Scruffy now wins the Belgian Grand Prix. Agafa coming home to collect second. Good fight between the two of them. Obviously Agafa tried and tried. He was committed to the bit. He did get in front for a while, but Scruffy quickly regained the first place and left Agafa in the dust. Third we have Jacob leading the race for a moment, but ultimately defeated by both Agafa and Scruffy. And Lachtan coming home to take fourth. The time penalty obviously didn't count too much because of the big gap he made between himself and Bahrain Berry. So there you have it, folks. That was an interesting Belgian Grand Prix, if I might say so. We didn't have much overtakes in the latest part, the ending might not be as nail-biting as I would hope to be. But it was still a pretty good race. We still had a lot of action actually.
It was. I think truly what would have changed it is the rain coming in a lot earlier than it did.
Oh yeah, that certainly would have made things interesting. But tell me, who do you think would be the driver of the day?
But honestly, I have no idea in this situation. I don't really know what to respond to that. I would say Deathling due to his recovery, sort of, but at the same time, Lachtan had a even bigger recovery, so I'd go with Lachtan, to be honest.
Oh yeah,
Even with his time
Lachtan started
penalties.
very last and he's now 4th. Scrafia was leading the majority of the race. He only lost the lead at the beginning phase of the race because of his own mistake. But yeah, he was unbeatable today. If anyone could have challenged him, it was Agafa, and he failed. So yeah, a very interesting race. For me, I would say probably either Agafa or, as you said, Lachtan would qualify for the title of the driver of the day. But yeah, it was interesting. Do you reckon we should
We
get an
can move on to the interviews. Yeah. First, I'm gonna add Deathlink, even though he's not one of the people that got a podium. I do want to know what happened, and I'm gonna have to ask him a few questions. So we can welcome Deathlink in here. Deathlink, how did you feel that race went for you?
Well, so I qualified P4, and then I got disqualified, which was fun. So I started last. Then I started on the hard tires, which was a good choice. And then so I was going through the fast left-hander, the one you can't really take flat. It's in the middle sector. That's where I spun on that first lap. And then Perryland appeared out of nowhere, and I literally avoided him by like the smallest margin. I had to go off the runoff area, and I was going full speed at the time, so I spun around. Then I had really good pace. I was catching the rest of the pack. Then I spun again with Perryland, so that was fun. Then the safety car came out, went onto the medium tyres, had good pace on the medium tyres. Then what happened on the medium tyres? Oh, Ollie spun, and I had to go off the runoff area, and there's a giant bump in Belgium for some reason. I don't know who put that there. So I spun around again. And then I finished P8, and Jacob finished P3. So, you know, it's great in terms of the title race. I'm probably now 25 points behind him. But, you know, it was fun.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it out there. From our point of view, it certainly looked like you were fuming behind the wheel, especially after some of the guys did try to make it harder for you.
The first spin annoyed me the most because, like, in terms of the pace I had, I was up there with the top two, especially when I put on those medium tyres, because I know Jacob and Scrappy were on hards at the last stint, so I would have been like, if I hadn't spun, I would have been up there. And it's also, I wouldn't have been there in the first place if the qualifying lap had counted. So
that is true.
It was a very frustrating day, but we go on to, is it Singapore next, the next track?
Yes, it is.
Like, Singapore is now a must-win race for me, like, because I can't drop any more points to Jacob because he's already quite far ahead now. So yeah, so I have to win. I have to beat Scraffy and Jacob and whoever else is racing at Singapore.
Pretty much, yes.
One more question from me. How was your PC today?
It didn't crash. Oh. It was fine. It didn't die at all. So clearly the bloody HDMI cable was the issue. So yeah, I'm happy that I finished the race. I'm not happy that I spun out and didn't win as many points as I wanted to.
Thank you for your time then.
That's alright. Thanks guys.
Congratulations on the result, even though it was not a podium place finish. But considering how bumpy your race was, this is definitely a good spot to finish at.
Yep, it was. It was considering the spins I had. I'm pretty happy with P8. So yeah.
Well, thank
Cheers,
you.
guys.
Cheers, mate. So we'll move on. We'll be adding Agatha to the commentary box.
Hello, Agafa.
Good
Congratulations on the second place.
Thank you.
Tell us, do you think maybe you could have got that first place if you would have made the move earlier on Scruffy?
Not really. I think it was down to the tires in the end. I started on hards. He was started on mediums. My tires were just gone by the end. And like, to be honest, position doesn't really matter too much around Spa. Like before, like the next to final lap, penultimate lap. Sorry. So I don't know. He's fast. I tried my best. It was fun.
Well, that's pretty much good to hear. Do you think starting on the hards would have actually given you starting on the mediums would have given you an advantage instead of starting on the hards? Because I did see multiple drivers starting on hards, hoping to get the advantage in.
Yeah, I was hoping for rain, which came very late, unfortunately.
Right at the end on the final
Yeah.
lap, yes.
So I think if I was on the same strategy as Scraffy, I think I would have had a bigger chance. Yeah, it was just unfortunate with the rain. Can't do much about it.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's all for me. Mouse, if you have any more questions, if none, we can move on to the next person.
One more question from me. About the mistake you made in the qualifying that put a lot of people in not the best place on the start of the race. Can you tell us what happened? I mean, I saw the video, but can you tell the viewers what happened?
Well, so I was just thinking, I was on a hot lap originally, but I kind of saw that I was losing too much time in certain corners and it would be worth just go pit and go out again before the end. So I was just not paying too much attention. I turned in too early and hit the little concrete thing on the left and smashed my tire, to put it simply, and I die, and a lot of people die. So that's it.
I see. So thank you for your time. Congratulations once again on the second place,
Thank you.
and I hope you can do better next time to defend the World Championship.
I cannot do it. I'm gone next race. My favorite race, and I'm gone.
Christ.
Yeah. Well, can't do
See you
much
later,
about it.
and
See you then.
yeah, we will now move on to the super sub, as I'm gonna call him from now on, Scruffy. So Scruffy had a absolutely brilliant race again. Had a little bit of some moments in the chicane, but other than that, it was good. Did you feel starting on mediums gave you an advantage to the people behind you, or did you think about maybe starting on hards in the beginning? How did you decide on the tire that you started on?
I just went for a safe option since I have gotten through before by hards for the first stint by a safety car as well. Since the mediums can do like about 8 laps, 9, it depends really. So I just went for a safe option, just in case something happens at the start, so I can choose what strategy I go next. So it was just a safe strategy option for me.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. To be fair, here in the commentary box, we the safety car came out too late, and the safety car also came out too early. So we didn't really expect it right in the middle of the race. We only expected it either in the beginning or near the end of the race. So that was a surprise for us.
For the medium runners, it came out in the perfect moment.
Oh yeah. Other than that, man, I mean, that was just from the middle of the race past the safety car point. It was domination, holding P1, keeping P1.
Yeah, but it wasn't really easy to be honest, because somebody took out the bus stop chicane, the marker braking point for me. So I just went straight like 2 times in a row, like quite literally straight, and I almost lost the position. But last time I did it, the virtual safety car saved me out really badly. So I'm thankful for that, because otherwise I would have been P3, bro. So yeah.
Other than that, I don't have any more questions, Mouse. If you have questions,
No, other than that, congratulations for the win.
yeah.
Thank you.
Honestly, great race. I'm gonna keep calling you the super sub.
Okay.
But yeah, that was a great race to watch. And obviously, for Singapore, I don't know what you're planning on doing, but we do expect you to get a win out of that, or at least a podium
Hopefully.
for next week, hopefully.
So yeah, thank you for today, and once again congratulations on the win. And I think that's it for us. So thank you for joining us today. Thanks for staying with us to the very end. And I hope to see you guys on the next one in Singapore. Cheers, take care.